Junpei really got the short end of the stick on this. He really did. We made our way up to the warehouse on floor A and met up with the others. It took only a few minutes to decide to head to the infirmary. As soon as we arrived, we began to treat Alice and Quark for Radical 6. I gave Luna the Accelavir that I'd found in the Q room. She quickly prepared it and... injected Alice and Quark.
Thank goodness. It will take some time for them to recover completely, but they should be fine.
Good.
Indeed.
Yep.
Thank you, Luna. And thanks for finding the medicine, you guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Don't sweat it.
No need to thank us.
Tenmoji said nothing, just walked over to Quark's unconscious body. He took the small boy's hand in his own and held it tight. I could see tears at the corners of his eyes as he turned away from us. Where's Dio? I haven't forgotten. Suddenly I remembered. Dio. Where had he gone? Didn't take me long to find him. Oh, there he is. He was sprawled unconscious on the floor beneath the sink. Handcuffs?
Oh, we found those in the crew quarters. Before you returned, we went to check on the bomb in room 2, and we found them there. Of course, the bomb was indeed turned off. Thank you again for dealing with them. You are, quite literally, lifesavers.
Indeed.
You have my eternal gratitude.
Kay, you are my buddy. I coughed awkwardly and looked pointedly around the room. I glanced over at Faya to see she was doing the same thing. After that, we headed back to the Flore warehouse to play the AB game. Specifically me, Fi, Kay, and Luna. Clover and Tenmyoji decided to remain in the infirmary, just in case something happened with Alice, Quark, and Dio. Luna would represent Clover's team. With Quark and Dio sleeping, Kay would represent their team by default, which left me, Fi, and Tenmyoji. You should vote.
No, I'll let you handle it. I chose Betray in the last round. You probably don't trust me right now.
I absolutely trust you. What? That doesn't matter now.
Excuse me. I apologize for interrupting, but I think you should be the one to vote in the next round, Fi.
Why?
You already have 9 BP. There's no reason for you to choose Betray now, you see?
Hey, you're acting like I might actually try and betray her.
Not necessarily.
What does it matter what he's suggesting? We're almost there. We just have to play the AB game 3 more times. Then we can all get 9 points.
Or we can betray and do it in
But
twice.
that means each representative has to choose ally all 3 times.
Yep. And then we'll be able to get out.
Okay, I'll vote. You sure you're alright with this, Sigma?
Yeah, I trust you. I handed her the star key.
Shall we open the doors?
Yes.
And ambit 45.
Oh, right. We have to wait for the deadline.
Yep.
Oh, well, we could vote earlier, but then each voter would be stuck inside the AB room for 45 minutes.
It is true.
Okay, let's go back to the infirmary then.
I agree.
Alright.
Please, lead the way.
Luna and Kay set off toward the yellow door. I was about to follow when...
Hold on. I just remembered something.
What?
The AB room on the left. In one of the other histories, she...
Oh yeah. You're right. Akane's body was in there. But this time, it wasn't. What does this mean? Why didn't we find her body this time?
Maybe because she wasn't murdered.
But how? When did history change?
Do you remember what Akane said?
The cat in the box.
Why is it... I'm noticing something. In most of these games, or actually in all of these games, one or more endings revolve around the fact that you have to save Akane. In this one, you save her, who is the cat in the box. In the first game, she is the girl on fire. In Zero Time Dilemma, which I'm slowly realizing is an abomination of God, you literally have to protect her from gunfire and let her witness the death of two people, one of which is the closest person to her ever. Akane, you are an active damsel in distress. Like, you put yourself in these situations, except maybe the first time. The first time I'll give a pass because you were a little girl.
Is it alive? Or is it dead? Sigma? Phi? You will decide its fate.
The Schrodinger's cat thing.
Exactly.
I wonder what she meant about us deciding its fate.
Perhaps she was saying her own fate wasn't decided yet.
Huh?
The history where she's alive and the history where she's murdered are both real right now.
What? No, that's impossible. We've already opened the box. We've opened the door to this AB room and there's no body.
No, we haven't opened the box. We haven't found a body, but we haven't found her alive yet either. In other words, we haven't actually observed her. The hologram was a recording from before this game started.
The next time we meet, I can tell you the rest of the story. So come and find me. I'll be waiting.
Where was Akane now? Where was she waiting for us? Or, what if she wasn't anywhere now? What if she was waiting for us in another timeline? Or what if she was waiting for us in the past? Was that even possible? If she was, what would that mean? We have to go to the beginning of the game. Oh, you did not just do that. Okay. Oh, yep. Alright. Here we go. Yep, we have to go before the game started. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Damn it. Feels like my head's gonna explode. Wait. Where the hell am I? Looks like an elevator, but...
No, this is one of the AB rooms.
Hi, Phi. God, who the hell are you? And what the hell's an AB room?
Damn, I guess you did lose your memory after all.
Memory? Memory. Still, the most brutal scene is everyone dead in the infirmary with their throats slit. I remember. You're Phi. She grinned. When is this?
Check your bracelet.
It's a red pair. BP is 3.
Mine's the same.
Does this mean this is the beginning of the game? We've gone back to when we first woke up in the AB room?
No, not quite. I think we woke up a little earlier this time.
How do you know?
Push the buttons on the side of your bracelet.
2 hours. 15 minutes.
We didn't wake up this long before the primary doors opened last time. I think we're about an hour early.
Wait a minute. If you're right...
Yeah, Akane might still be alive. We got back before Dio killed her. I think.
Then...
Right. We're here for one reason.
To save Akane's life. To stop her from getting killed.
Exactly.
Let's move. We need to get out of here fast.
Don't need to tell me twice. Let's go.
Luckily, I remember how to do this. Or, I think it'd be more accurate to say, I have the password. Oh wait, Oh, this one doesn't require a password. Or does it? No, it doesn't. Or, yeah, it does. You remember the password safe we figured out last time. Once the password's figured out, it will never change. Safe for the infirm. Why is that new? Star, sun, or sun, star, moon. There, it's open. Good work. Hurry up and grab the cracker. Cracker? Ah, damn, I meant key. How the hell? Just shut up and do it. Alright. This is much better. For God's sake, just do it already. No need to yell. Meanwhile, Dio's out there like, wait, what's that noise? Alright, ready, Fi? What do you think? I know, I don't need to ask every time, right? Then why the hell are you asking? Hurry up and... Right, I'm going. 10, 9, 8, 1, done. A woman's life is in danger, you fool. Hey, you pushed the button. Bite me, you were taking too long. We're on a schedule here. I wonder what would happen if I tried to solve the room again. Fi and I climbed up through the hatch and out on top of the AB room. It took us only a moment to spot them. Akane! Behind her was Dio. He was moving quickly and quietly, a knife glinting in his right hand. Shit! There was no time to yell to her. I scrambled down from the top of the AB room. Fi wasn't following me. When I looked back, she was still standing on the roof. Fi, what the hell are you doing? Get down here and... Before I could finish, she moved. She ran across the roof, launched herself into the air. Fi is amazing. What the...
He's fine. Just unconscious.
I bent down and held my fingers in front of his mouth. He was still breathing.
I don't think he saw me. He probably has no idea what happened to him.
Guy went down like a sack of potatoes.
He had it coming.
He did. After all the shit that's happened, he did. I heard footsteps come to a stop right in front of us. I looked up.
So you came.
I did.
I've been waiting for you. You're here to hear the rest, right?
I am. Wait. Just wait a minute. What the hell is your deal? How can you be so calm? If we hadn't shown up just now, you'd...
Have been stabbed in the heart by this young man and died. Yes. Although, that reminds me, I haven't thanked you yet. Thank you very much.
See, the only way to thank Sigma is a swimsuit.
I very much appreciate you saving me.
What?
Hold on. How do you know about being stabbed by Dio? Are you an Esper too?
Yes, indeed I am. I am able to jump through time, just like you.
What must that have been like, jumping through history after history after history for so long until finally getting to it? Then what the hell were you thinking? If you knew he was going to stab you, why were you going to let him do it?
Because I had to.
You what?
Think back. Why are you here? If I hadn't been killed by Dio, no one else would have been murdered. Consequently, your own abilities would never have manifested. I did explain, didn't I? The purpose of the AB project was to send the two of you to the past. Or your minds, at least. In order for that to happen, some death was necessary. When a human brain is faced with danger, its processing speed increases. Information is processed more quickly, and time almost seems to slow. A few seconds can feel like an eternity. Unfortunately, that in itself isn't enough to send oneself through time. The amplitude of the consciousness is simply too small. In order to increase the amplitude, we need to slow down the brain before the increase happens.
Radical 6.
It's a little like a slingshot. You pull back on the rubber band and then let go. The potential energy you stored in the band is released and converted into kinetic energy. That's what fires the bullet out of the slingshot. Now, while a slingshot can only fire in one direction, your mind isn't similarly limited. When the bullet of your consciousness is fired from a slingshot of your brain, it travels past the three-dimensional world and into the four-dimensional one. From that perspective, time is no longer fixed. In other words, you can travel to the future, the past, whenever you like. Your consciousness has been released from the three-dimensional cage. In order for that to happen, I had to infect you with Radical 6.
Whoa, what?
We're infected with Radical 6?
Yes.
Don't laugh when you say that.
Don't you remember, Sigma? Luna should have told you about it in another timeline.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
Infecting all of these people with such a horrible disease?
Every single one of you has been infected. Well, apart from Luna, of course.
Because she's a robot.
Unfortunately, it was necessary. We needed to slow your minds in order to store up your potential energy. Then we provided a dire situation that would accelerate your processing speed. The result is what you are now experiencing.
You know, I just noticed something. Why is she wearing a necklace or a dress that has the same, like, diamond as her ring?
Your consciousness now occupies four-dimensional space-time.
Oh, and now I can access it whenever.
Even that, however, wasn't enough. You had the ability to travel, but your memories could easily be lost during the trip. If the project was to succeed, you had to be able to retain everything you learned in each reality. That was the reason you were forced to jump so many times. With each jump, your ability to remember improved. Eventually, you would be able to retain everything.
Wow.
That is why we made you play the AB game.
So this whole thing was to prepare us for a trip back to 2021 to stop the Radical 6 outbreak from the first place. It all makes sense now.
That was why you had to select different chromatic doors. By forcing specific choices, we could cause you to make more jumps.
I get it. I think I finally understand. Well, okay, there are a lot of things I don't understand, but all of what you just told me makes sense. You did all of this so I could jump through four-dimensional space with our memories intact, right?
Yes.
But why did you need us to do that? People have died for this. I mean, let's count how many ways people have died. Murder, antimatter explosion, suicide. I've died, so has Phi. So have you. So why would you do all this? What does it matter that Phi and I jumped through time?
Haven't I told you? Death was unavoidable. You are all destined to die. Sacrifices had to be made for the sake of the project.
And technically, in this history, no one's died yet, so she's not really guilty. I already know all that. What I'm asking you is why? What is so goddamn important that is worth all of this?
I'm sure you'll figure it out eventually.
I hate you so much right now.
What? Just when is eventually?
In a future not very far from now.
Bullshit. That's not good enough. Why can't you tell us now? Instead of answering, Akane knelt down to Dio and picked up his knife off the floor.
I'm going to keep this with me.
Don't change the subject.
But it's almost time.
What are you talking about? We've got plenty of time.
No. In a few moments, you'll return to the original timeline.
Now all of a sudden you can control us going back. What?
This is the way it has to be. Don't fight it.
Wait. Oh, hold on. Okay, hold on. So we went through the red door. Hold on, I need a visual. Okay. So, this is before the game begins. So we have to go here, choose the cyan door, then choose the red door, go all the way down here, realize we need to save Akane, jump back here to save Akane, which then brings us back to this timeline here. So this is the true timeline right here that we need to follow. Okay, I got it.
Logomorph.
Logomorph?
Yes.
Oh. Hi.
Logomorph?
You call him Zero Jr. His official designation is Logomorph. Logomorph, this is an order. Unlock my bracelet.
Compliance.
And now it's on Dio.
Now, everything is in place. I have put the bracelet onto Dio. All we have to do is place his body in the 5th AB room, the second one from the right.
That's the one Quark is in, right?
Yep.
Correct. I will move him. I will also put your bodies back into the 3rd AB room. Once that's done, I will reset its puzzle to an unsolved state.
Why do you need to do all that?
To recreate the history that you remember. Your consciousness is about to leave your body and return to the future. Your body will be emptied, and your other consciousness will jump back in. If your bodies aren't back in the 3rd AB room by then, it would be bad.
How bad?
So you're saying some version of us is going to wake up in that room and repeat the same history again? Well, I guess this could actually be our 2nd or 3rd time.
You are exactly correct.
Okay.
Lastly, I'm going to leave this with you.
She paused and pulled something out of her pocket. There was a small key attached to a string.
I'll tie it onto your ankle so that you won't lose it. All right, Sigma?
So you're telling me in that history this whole time, I didn't feel a little key on my ankle running around. Okay, sure, why not? Also, I think I know where this goes. What's it say on there?
Tu fui ego eris.
Yep, I knew it. Goes on the grave. Akane's gonna be in the grave.
It's Latin. It means, what you are, I was. What I am, you will be.
Yes.
What am I supposed to do with this?
It will help you meet someone who's very important.
What?
Go. Return to the future. You won't be alone. I will be at your side, watching over you. Now hurry.
Wait, I still... Alright. Alright. You're really making me work for this game. Oh, we're in the infirmary.
Oh, looks like you're awake.
Is this the infirmary?
Why are we here?
Do you know what happened at the AB gate?
Kay and I went back to the infirmary, but
We waited and waited, and the two of you never returned.
So we went to the warehouse to check on you.
We found you passed out in front of the AB rooms.
Huh.
Kay and I hurried back here with you.
I looked over at Fi and met her eyes. Do you remember what happened just now?
You mean what happened a long time ago?
Yeah. You got him pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I remember all right.
She's got the leg strength of a god.
Hey, what are you guys talking about?
The bird and the bees, Quark. Go, Quark!
What am I? Chopped liver?
Hi! Alice.
Back among the conscious and not psychotic, huh?
Yeah, thanks.
Grandpa told me what you did. Thanks for finding the medicine for us.
No problem. All in a day's work. Although I wouldn't mind a little swimsuit action.
Really grabbing at straws here, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I deserve this, Fi. Hey, I wasn't talking to Quark. That was an offer for Alice.
Not really my point.
Whatever. Forget about that.
Well, I mean, Clover's technically in a swimsuit already, so I don't think it really matters.
Now that you guys are awake, all we gotta do is open the number 9 door.
Huh?
What are you talking about?
Look at your bracelet.
We were passed out for 3 AB games. I have 10 BP.
I've got 15 BP? That means I got 6 more points while I was out.
But how?
You've been asleep for more than 2 hours. We've played the AB game 3 times.
3 times?
Yes. Of course, the color and group assignments were shuffled around each time. But no matter who voted, everyone chose Ally.
I'm proud of you guys. You guys did so good.
And now all of us have enough to leave.
I am so proud of you all. You have all made me proud today. I was stunned. How had everyone cooperated long enough to raise our all of BP past 9? Was it because Akane hadn't been killed? Without a death to start things off, maybe we'd have been less suspicious of each other. Or could the bombs have had something to do with it? We'd all joined forces against Dio, and Fi and I had been able to disarm all of them. All of us had banded together against a common enemy and overcome a tremendous threat. Perhaps that had strengthened our bond. Which, I had to admit, would be somewhat ironic. After all, Dio had planted the bombs that forced us all to work together against him. This must have been what Akane was talking about.
Haven't I told you death was unavoidable? Sacrifices had to be made for the sake of the project.
I am so... I'm glad it's over, but I'm kind of sad that we're getting to the end.
Come on, let's go! Let's open the door and get out of here!
Wait. What about him? After some discussion, we decided to leave Dio behind. Alice was the only holdout. She complained about wanting to take him back to her superiors, but after I mentioned they'd come back to investigate after we escaped and deal with Dio then, she reluctantly complied.
Alright, let's get going.
But we have one more thing to take care of. Or wait, are we all just gonna leave? Everybody ready? I'm gonna open it.
Yes, just get on with it.
Everyone else swallowed and nodded. I grabbed the lever and pulled it down. This is bittersweet. Well, not really, actually. This is the best thing I've ever done.
The number 9 door has been opened. It will remain open for 9 seconds.
Alright, everybody. Let's move. I didn't need to tell them twice. The room inside looked like a loading elevator. It looked like some sort of large plate on top of a huge pedestal. We ran to the center of the plate and turned around. The number 9 door stood wide open.
2, 1, 0. The number 9 door is closing.
Akane comes rolling in. I almost missed him.
The number 9 this end. Thank you. As the gate.
Oh. I was so used to that being a bad sound. Oh my god, okay. We understand everything now. We understand how Zero Time to Limit ties into it now. Or how this ties into Zero Time to Limit.
Looks like we did it.
Sure did.
Yes, we should keep moving.
Beyond the door was a wide hallway that ended in a very solid wall. To the left, we found a very familiar looking door. We pushed it open and went in. Uh-oh. The pressure exchange chamber.
You know what this place is?
Yeah, sort of. This whole facility is pressurized, apparently. I think the idea is to keep the air outside and consequently the virus from getting inside. That means that if we want to go out, we have to decompress so we can match the outside air pressure. This room here is what you prepare for going into the actual pressure exchange room. See all those suits along the wall? I figure we need to put those on ahead of the decompression room downstairs.
Whoa! Hold on a minute! You're saying the air outside is full of that horrible virus?
Correct. That's what it seems like. Of course, according to Akane, we were already infected with Radical 6, so the whole room seemed a little pointless.
Why? How did all this happen?
Did they...
No, that's not possible.
We've come this far. We can't turn back now. Let's go outside. There's no way to know what's really going on until we do.
Well, I mean, Kay, also, by the way, you're the safest out of all of us, I'm just going to say.
All right.
No one else objected. We all donned the protective suits and headed downstairs to the decompression room. As soon as we were all inside, the process began. Through my helmet, I could hear the soft hiss of air being sucked out of the room. We stood there for several minutes waiting for the process to finish. At last it did, and we heard the door begin to open. Beyond it was another decompression chamber. We repeated the process 2 more times before we reached the final door and opened it. The dead, bleak landscape wasn't a surprise for me. I'd seen it before in another timeline. The others hadn't, however, and although I couldn't see their faces through the visors of their helmets, I heard more than a few gasps over the radio. For a few long moments, we just stood there, astonished.
Where the hell are we?
The desert, I guess?
I figured that out. I mean, which one?
I don't know, but I think I know what day it is.
Hmm?
Look at the moon. It's red, right? That means today's the total lunar eclipse.
So?
Remember the astronomy magazine in the lounge? Well, the next eclipse like this was gonna be on December 31st, 2028. So...
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Are you suggesting we were sleeping for a week after we were abducted?
I think so.
Huh. Wherever we were must have been far away from any city. The air was getting clearer than I'd ever seen it. And the stars. The sky was full of them, more stars than I'd ever seen in my life. I could even spot the hazy arm of the Milky Way. but the most striking feature was the moon. It was blood red and massive, much bigger in fact than I remembered it being. Then, as I watched, a bleak spot began to move across its surface. It was hard to see details, but it looked circular. The spot continued to move across the moon, heading for the right edge. What's that?
The moon. Well, the moon's shadow, actually.
The moon's shadow? I frowned. That didn't make any sense.
Zero told me to stay quiet. I think he was worried I'd spill the beans on his operation.
What?
He said if I didn't toe the line, he wouldn't just kill me. He'd kill Quark, too.
Tenmyoji was in on it the whole time?
And I agreed, like an idiot, and brought Quark with me. Just so I could see her. Such an idiot. So, that being the case, might as well start with this.
Where are we?
I meant what I said before. That up there is the moon's shadow.
What the hell are you saying?
Think about it. If that's the moon's shadow, then what's it falling on?
That's Earth?
We're on the moon.
Yeah. It's not the red moon you get from a lunar eclipse. And again, this isn't a lunar eclipse. It's a solar eclipse. Anybody in the black spot down there is looking up at the moon covering the sun.
What? No way. If that's the Earth, then where the hell are we?
The moon, of course. This is the lunar surface. We were just inside a moon base.
Oh my god.
No way. No, you've gotta be lying. How do you expect us to believe that? This can't be the moon.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Besides, if this was the moon, how do you explain the gravity? The moon only has 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. So what's this?
What? She picked up a rock and dropped it.
See? That looked perfectly normal.
Yes, it looked that way.
Luna?
You were right about the gravity in a way. I was one of the people who knew this wasn't Earth. Well, I suppose I'm not people, if we're being honest, but
Excuse me? What?
please just listen.
Okay, Luna, explain please.
Alice, you were infected with Radical 6. Then we gave you the Excelivir, which cured you. The Radical 6 isn't completely gone, though. Some of its symptoms stick around for a while.
What symptoms?
Well, Radical 6 can slow down your brain's processing speed by the root of 1/6. It can take a while for your brain to get back up to speed.
So what she's seeing is the rock dropping normally, but in reality, it floated down.
Every one of us has been infected. In other words, all of our brains have been processing information at a much lower speed. If you evaluated the root of 1/6, you'll get a number close to 0.408. That means our brains are running at something slightly less than half speed. As you said before, the moon's gravity is about 1/6 that of Earth's. The time that it takes for an object to fall is inversely proportional to the square root of the gravitational acceleration. Since the gravity is lower on the moon, that means the time increases. I guess that's a little technical. Let me give you an example. Say you drop an apple from a height of 4.9 meters. It will take approximately 1 second to hit the ground. On the moon, however, that time would be 1 second times root 6, which would be approximately 2.45 seconds. I used 4.9 meters because it matches up with the acceleration of gravity nicely, but it could be anything. The gravity constant is, well, a constant. You could drop something from 10 centimeters or 10 meters and it would be the same. Does that make sense? So now we've established that on the moon, things fall root 6 times slower than they do on Earth. That being the case, what would happen if someone's brain slowed down by root 1/6? To them, 2.45 seconds would feel like 1 second. 4.9 seconds would feel like 2. But it's not hypothetical. That's what's been happening to every one of us.
Wait. You're saying that's
That's the reason we didn't notice the weaker gravity? Are you sure you didn't notice anything? Think back. Huh? You and Sigmund Phi said something about it in the lounge. About how you felt weird.
It's kind of like my body isn't really mine. I'm sort of floating. Like that?
Oh. It seemed insane, but what Luna said made sense. In fact, it explained Phi's apparent superhuman strength quite well. It's true. So, wait.
Wait.
How did she do it on Earth then, back in Zero Time Dilemma? Did she just beef up?
This is crazy. That can't possibly be Earth out there. Look at it. I've seen photos of Earth, and it's blue and green and beautiful. That thing is just red.
Before we get into that, I should probably tell you something. This isn't New Year's Eve in 2028. Today is January 27th.
Okay. And 29?
No.
Don't tell me. 30?
You're kind of lowballing it, guys. More like 2070. More like 2070.
Still no.
And just what year is this?
It's 74. 2074.
No. That's insane. That would mean we were abducted more than 45 years ago.
I don't blame you if you don't believe me, but it's the truth.
How can you be sure?
It's not that hard. Quark and I left Earth on January 23rd, 2074. Solar eclipses are easy to predict. We've known that there'd be one on the 27th for a long time. That's just science. Nobody can change that.
But why is the Earth red?
That's a long story. About 45 years ago, on April 13th, 2029, there were 18 annihilation reactors operating in various parts of the world. On the 13th, all 18 of them went up, all at the same time. The explosion was about 180,000 times as powerful as the atom bomb they dropped on Hiroshima.
What? Why?
I suppose it started a few months before that. The government had a test site for a future Mars mission out in the middle of Nevada. On December 31st, 2028, there was an accident. Well, accident doesn't quite convey the right sense of the thing. The point is, Radical 6 claimed its first victims there, then escaped. Didn't take long for it to spread to the rest of the world. Like Luna explained, the virus slows your brain down, but eventually, it also makes you kill yourself. Pretty soon, the bodies started to pile up. Some people would take a dive off a building or shoot themselves in the head. You know, the classics. But for some, it was poison, or fire, or asphyxiation, or the noose. Plenty of people jumped in front of trains or cars. One pilot on a passenger airline drove his plane into the ground. Most forms of transportation ground to a halt pretty fast. That meant food couldn't get distributed, and thousands of people who weren't even infected died from starvation. Everywhere you went, there were just piles of corpses, covered in flies and rats and crows. I don't know what hell's like, but I imagine it's a lot like that. After a while, people who managed to avoid getting infected started trying to get in touch with one another. They got a hold of some radios and organized a couple meetings. There was only one thing to discuss, of course. How could they get rid of Radical 6? The answer, they decided, was purification. They figured they could just roast the surface of the Earth and that'd kill the virus off for good. On April 13th in 2029, they put their plan into effect. That plan was to detonate all 18 annihilation reactors.
That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
Now the truth is, that's mostly just rumor. Nobody really knows what happened, but I've got my own theories. I think that the bombers had already been infected, and when they died, they took billions with them. The ultimate if I die, you're coming with me gesture, I suppose. I'd bet you money they'd all lost it long before they got to the reactors. Killing most of the world, no matter how bad things had gotten, was not a sane plan. Even if it wasn't directly responsible, Radical 6 killed most of the people on Earth. Anyway, why it happened isn't that important. Point is, it happened. You ever heard of nuclear winter? Well, that's basically what we got. The explosion threw a ton of crap up into the stratosphere, where it joined up with smoke and ash from all the fires. It blotted out the sun for 7 years. Plants withered and animals died by the millions. The few humans who were left banded together to survive. They were rough times. Eventually they were over, though. The sky cleared and the sun came back. Plants started blooming again, and the animals that hadn't died out completely began to reappear. Things weren't quite back to normal, though. It's been 45 years now, but there's still quite a bit of dust and ash in the air.
And Junpei lived through all of that. Holy shit.
That's what you're seeing. You know why a sunset's red? Well, this is the same thing. Blue and green light have short wavelengths, and they scatter when they run into debris in the air. Red light, on the other hand, has a longer wavelength, which means it'll get a lot farther when the air's dirty. So there you are. The Earth looks red because that's the only color of light that can make it through the atmosphere.
So in theory, Earth is technically fine right now, but it can be a lot better. I was speechless. What could I possibly say? There was no reason for Tenmyoji to lie to us. So we were standing on the moon, looking at the Earth. It was 2074. But why? Why were we there? Why were we then? I was so lost in thought I barely noticed Phi's approach.
Hey, Sigma, I think I figured something out.
A window popped up on the inside of my on the inside of my helmet with Whisper in the corner. She seemed to be using a circuit only we could hear. Yeah? What is
I
it?
figured out why there's an extra E.
What? Yeah, on the graffiti.
Yeah, the one on floor B.
What is it?
I think it's an anagram, just like on floor A.
I figured it was an anagram for the longest time, but I could not, for the life of me, figure it out. What's Anna say this time?
God damn it, Sigma! Knock it off! Memento mori if the ninth lion ate the sun. If you rearrange the letters, you get... The man on the moon rules the infinite time. See? You need 6 E's to get that, so they stuck an extra one in ninth.
The man on the moon rules the infinite time. Huh.
I think it's a message for us from Zero Senior and Akane. Remember what she was telling us?
We created the AB project for one purpose: to transport the consciousnesses of 2 people into the past. Those 2 people are you, Sigma, and you, Phi.
So, what are you getting at?
My God, you're slow.
We're all slow. We're 6 slower than we usually are.
You don't get it? They're saying we rule the infinite time. Infinite time. They weren't just talking about having us jump a couple hours. I think they're planning to send us back. Way back.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you think they're going to send us back 45 years?
Yeah. I'd bet on it.
So the ultimate purpose of the AB project is to send us back in time to that catastrophe Tenmyoji was talking about.
I think so.
And stop it. That doesn't make sense, though. I mean, we came from that same time period. Before it, actually. So why bring us here and then send us back? Because now you have knowledge.
Well, Akane should be able to tell us the rest. Let's go pay her a visit.
Do you know where she is?
I've got an idea. Come on, think. Remember what she said when she gave you the key?
Tu fui ego eris.
Yep. The grave. The one in the garden.
Well, come on, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
Well, how do we get back? Wait, what? We turned and ran back into the pressure exchange chamber, the others following close behind.
What are you doing? Did you forget something?
We're going to go have a talk with somebody.
Who?
You really need me to spell it out? The person behind all
You
this.
mean Akane?
What?
I'll take that as a yes. Let me accompany you then.
Wait, why do you know about Akane?
I'll tell you when we get there. Now, if you please.
I'm coming with you. You folks just said the magic word.
I'm going too then. So am I.
Hey, is this Akane you're talking about?
Yeah, you know her real well.
Wait, you're not... You're serious?
I am.
What the hell is going on?
Shut up. Just shut up. Come if you want to. We don't need to do roll call. Once we get there, Akane can explain everything. I like how they get through this whole thing without saying the word Junpei. They got through this whole thing with only saying Junpei one time. And that one time was in Alice's ending. No, in Clover's ending. Talking about how they couldn't find him. Oh no, that means 7 was down there. I hope he didn't get infected with Radical 6. He probably did. And he's a big guy, so he can cause a lot of damage. Wait, I thought the door would never open again. Or was that a lie?
Ah, clever. The number 9 door on floor A is shut forever once the game ends.
Oh, it went to the floor B.
Assuming Zero Jr. was telling the truth, of course. But the door on floor B...
Yeah, thought we might be able to take the lift to it, and it looks like I was right.
Any idea where Akane might be?
Yeah, the grave.
Wait, you mean the grave in the garden?
Yeah, don't worry. I don't think she's buried there or anything. Chances are she's alive. Just in the grave. Anyway, let's move. To the garden! Wow, okay, this took a huge turn. Akane, please explain things. And Zero, probably. That's why everyone was saying I was so old. Sigma's technically 66 right now. If he was 21 when this whole thing went down. No, wait, how old was Sigma when he got kidnapped? No, he'd have to be.
Is Akane really under here?
I think so.
What should we do? Are we gonna dig her out?
No, I don't think we'll have to do anything like that. You see the keyhole in the grave? If I just insert this here, I pulled the key off my ankle and fitted it into the hole. I twisted it to the right until I heard something unlock. How funny would it be if that key just broke? With a quiet grinding, the grave began to shift.
What is this?
Akane, if you're gonna get buried in style.
It doesn't look like a coffin.
Yeah, it's a treatment pod.
Oh my god. It is, isn't it?
Glass on the cover had frosted over, making it opaque. We couldn't see who or what was in it.
Let's see what's inside.
And I like how it's number 0. She grabbed the hold of the lever and turned on the side of the pod.
No good. I think it's locked.
Of course it is. What?
Treatment pod TP00. Stage 1 defrosting complete. Stage 2 will be complete in 10 minutes. Once stage 2 is complete, the lock will automatically disengage.
So we have to bum around for 10 minutes. Alright. Right, cold sleep.
What?
These pods can put people into cold sleep. It uses something called CAS to freeze humans' bodies without destroying their cells.
So, Ms. Akane's like an ice cube?
More like a mummy.
Then we gotta wait till she melts?
Yep.
So how about you tell us your story while we wait, Kay? Specifically, why do you know Akane?
I remembered.
What do you remember?
Everything. I was born and raised in this facility. It's called Rhizome 9. A rhizome is an underground plant stem that spreads by sending out roots. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? This facility is a little like a rhizome. Supposedly, that's why they call these installations that. The number comes from the facility's number. There are 54 rhizomes on the moon, and this is the 9th one. Well, I suppose the other ones don't really matter to you, do they? In any event, I grew up here with Akane and Zero Senior. I watched them create the AB project.
The AB project?
Yes. Its purpose is to send Phi and Sigma, or their consciousnesses at least, to the past.
Back 45 years, right?
Yes.
So, you want us to change history, huh? Go back and keep Radical 6 from getting out, and stop the reactors from exploding. That's our mission?
Well, not exactly.
What do you mean?
It's true that the ultimate goal of the project is to keep Radical 6 from spreading to the general population. But even if you do make it back, you won't be able to do much. By now, it's already too late.
Too late?
What do you mean?
Let me begin at the beginning.
Of course.
You might be thinking that Zero Senior and Akane were the ones who created all this, but that's not entirely correct. They only followed the histories they'd already seen. It was the only choice they had. Nothing less than the future of mankind is at stake. We need the two of you to jump through timelines while maintaining your memories. That is why you had to play the AB game, and why the chromatic doors were necessary. By forcing multiple options, you could make numerous jumps. We speculated that jumping more would strengthen your memories. The puzzles were also there for a purpose. Some theories hold that a moment of insight when you solve a puzzle strengthens your connection to the fourth dimension. That was the reason for the puzzles. Your infection with Radical 6 was also a vital part of our plan. By slowing down your brain's processing speed, we can store your potential. With that energy stored up, we just had to provide a life-or-death situation to launch your consciousness into the fourth dimension. Like a bullet from a slingshot.
Wait, hold on just a minute here. You keep talking about Sigma and Phi, but what about the rest of us? Why did you bring us here?
That's simple. In earlier histories, you were all here in Rhizome 9. We needed you here to accurately replicate those histories.
Oh, so it's more like it's more like self-fulfilling prophecy in that case. Because they were already here, so they had to make it so they were here.
Although I suppose that's probably not a good enough explanation for you. In a sense, though, it is the truth. Our primary goal was to replicate history. The rest is... Yes, I suppose I should explain. Very well. I will try and do so in a way you can understand. First, Alice and Clover. They were abducted 45 years and 1 month ago, on December 22nd, 2028. The location is Earth, of course. More specifically, Los Angeles, California. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
After being kidnapped, your bodies were sent to a facility under Akane's direction. You were placed in treatment pods and immediately put into cold sleep.
Oh, so they were all in cold... No, wait. Who was all put into cold sleep? Because there was only 3 pods.
4 months later, you arrived at this facility. The date you finally arrived was April 14th, 2029. Your trip from Earth to this facility was aboard a spaceship powered by an annihilation engine. Following your arrival, your pods were placed in long-term storage. Does that make sense?
Are you telling me we were sleeping in those pods here for 45 years?
Yes.
Yes, in preparation for this day.
But why? What do you need us for?
You are an Esper, aren't you, Clover? I mean that you are able to access the fourth dimension. Am I wrong?
Did Akane tell you?
In a manner of speaking. As I've already explained, the purpose of this project is to send Sigma and Phi's consciousnesses to the past. Espers are able to sort of resonate with one another, which can amplify their power.
So wait, why not send Junpei? I mean, because he's technically an Esper, or no, he was a receiver. He couldn't actually access it himself, I think.
You understand? This is why we brought you here, Clover.
What about me?
We needed your help, Alice, to deactivate Dio's bombs.
Huh?
But I didn't do anything.
But you did. In
another history.
You were able to perform a prime decomposition on the 25-digit integer that Dio left behind. Only you could do that sort of thing. Because of your feat of mathematics, we were about to determine that Dio had planted the bombs. Then we were able to question him and get the password for the number 31. Finally, we used that information to stop the bomb in this timeline.
I think they're reading it wrong.
Without your help, Alice, we would have been reduced to nothing more than so much space dust. This history exists because of your presence.
Thank you, Alice. You've saved us. Now about that swimsuit.
Now, let me explain why we needed Tenmyoji and Quark. Tenmyoji is simple. We needed you for the same reason we needed Clover. You are able to access the fourth dimension. Almost half a century ago, you used that ability to save a young girl, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
We needed you to resonate with Sigma and Phi, so we brought you here. All it took was a messenger.
Do you want to see Akane? If you do, come with me. I was a fool and fell for it.
And you brought Quark with you. In fact, you insisted that he come.
Yeah, I know. I guess you were worried about leaving me alone, huh? He kept saying he couldn't run off to the moon and leave me behind.
I'm sorry, Quark. If I hadn't been so stupid and selfish, none of this would have happened to you.
It's okay, Tenmyoji. We're all alive. Dio's still a piece of shit, but we're all alive.
I never thought this would happen. Can you ever forgive me?
Oh, don't worry about it. I mean, I agreed to come with you. I thought the moon would be way more interesting than boring old Earth.
I mean, hey.
What kid would turn that down?
We didn't see the messenger after we got on the ship. It was on autopilot. As soon as we got in, and headed straight for the moon. During the trip, Zero told me to keep quiet once we got there. I don't remember anything after we landed.
Then there was a bunch of that white smoke, and we passed out, and when I woke up, I was in the AB room.
With Dio.
Now, Dio. His real name is Left, and he's the leader of a terrorist organization called the Myrmidons. He was ordered to come here. The Myrmidons are under the control of an organization called Free the Soul, which is in turn controlled by a man known as Brother. It was Brother who orchestrated the release of Radical 6 into the general population 45 years ago. Do you remember what Phi mentioned earlier? The ultimate purpose of the AB project is to change history and keep Radical 6 from being released. If we succeed, that would be bad for Brother and his organization. Our success would prevent them from creating the ideal world they're working toward. That is why Brother sent Left, his trusted lieutenant, to this facility. They needed to stop the AB project. So, Dio was given two tasks.
Stop the AB project, and if at all costs, blow himself up.
The first was to eliminate Akane, the architect of the AB project. The second was to join the AB game and win it. If Dio won the game, the AB project would not be completed, at least not in that timeline.
And there is one where he succeeded.
In other words, in that world, the project would have been stopped. If things didn't go as planned, Dio was given a contingency plan. If you cannot murder Akane and win the game, destroy Rhizome 9. Hence, the bombs.
Can I ask you something?
Perhaps.
How did Brother know about the AB project?
He was also an Esper. We can set Brother aside for now, though. May I proceed?
He's an Esper, but in a different sense of the word, and it's really fucking memeable. We were all curious.
Excellent. That explains everyone, save two, Luna and myself. Sigma and Phi already know the truth about Luna. I don't believe I should reveal any more, however. I think it would be more appropriate if you could ask Luna yourselves, at a later time. Would that be all right with you, Luna?
Yes, that's okay.
As for me, as I said before, I was born and raised here. The rest of you were brought to this facility, but I've never left. That makes me someone close to Zero Senior and Akane.
Hey, I've been wondering, who is Zero Senior?
Go ahead, tell us.
You've already met him, Sigma. In another timeline.
Yeah. Well, I saw a hologram. I still don't know who he is.
Stage 2 is complete. TP00 unlocking.
Alright, here it comes.
It looks like it's finished. Shall we open the pod?
Yeah, let's do it. All of us gathered around the pod. The glass was still covered with frost hiding the contents.
Okay, let's get started then. Ready?
Yep, as I'll ever be. Phi laid her hand on the lever and looked around at us. I swallowed. Yeah, anytime.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
What? Suddenly my head was full of memories from other timelines. I'd seen something like this before. The warehouse of floor B, in front of the white door. Kay was lying in front of me. I grabbed his mask and saw my own face. I'd never figured out who he really was. Why was there a man with my face underneath Kay's armor? It didn't make sense. After I'd seen him, I was injected with turbocurine, and that was the end of that. But wait, if the person in the pod was the same person I'd seen on the floor of the warehouse, who was wearing Kay's armor?
You finally noticed. Didn't I tell you? You won't be alone. I will be at your side, watching over you.
Are you kidding me? No. Oh my god, you're...
Yes, I am.
Unbelievable.
Akane Kurashiki.
It's you! June! I mean, Akane, from... But you're old.
Yes, that's correct. I haven't spoken to you in a very long time, Clover. Or you, Junpei.
There we go. Finally set the name.
Junpei?
Akane, long time no see.
I could barely hear what they were saying. My mind was still reeling. It felt like all the air had been knocked out of me, and it was all I could do not to collapse right then and there.
When? How long?
Do you remember when the two of you saved me in the warehouse?
Yep. Well, say the two of us, but it was only one person.
Once you saved me, you went back to your future. Well, your minds did at least. I carried your bodies to the 3rd AB room, and then took Dio's to the 5th. After that, I went into the 1st room and borrowed Kay's armor.
So by the time you and Clover came out, you'd already...
Yes.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Dio killed you, and then Luna took your body to the 6th room. You couldn't have been Kay's armor.
No, it was me. In this timeline, at least. In this one, I wasn't murdered by Dio. You two saved me. It's just like Schrodinger's cat. Your actions in the future decided who would be inside the armor in the past.
What? No, that's nuts.
Alright, what about the other history? The one where you weren't saved. What happens then? Who's wearing the armor?
That's quite simple. The man in front of you.
Him?
That's correct. Whenever I'm not in the armor, he is.
Then who is he?
What about the memory loss?
For my part, I confess that I lied. He, on the other hand, was telling the truth. Large doses of soporil can cause memory loss. I gave him a rather large dose.
So, who is he?
The fact that Quark doesn't recognize him raises a red flag in my head.
You've never seen him before?
No.
What about the rest of you?
I have no idea who he is.
They don't recognize me.
I've never seen him before.
Me either.
Total stranger.
Oh, hey, come on, what are you guys saying? Right here? Same face?
Huh?
Huh?
Are you all right, Mr. Sigma? Did you hit your head or something?
Huh? What? It didn't make any sense. Why didn't they recognize me?
Sigma, your consciousness can jump through time. You can inhabit your body in the past or in the future.
What does that mean?
Don't you get it? You've jumped to the future from 45 years ago.
I looked around frantically. A pond! I ran to it and threw myself down onto my knees. Crawling on all fours, I approached the edge. My heart was hammering in my chest. A cold sweat trickled down my spine. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down, damn it. I struggled to take deep breaths. Then slowly, I peered into the pond looking for my reflection. I was Zero the whole time. Oh my god. What? No, this can't be real. This face?
It's your face, Dr. Sigma Climb. Although to the you that's behind it now, it's your face 45 years from now. Zero, the mastermind of the AB project, is you.
What? No, that's not possible. That's bullshit.
No, it's the truth. Fighting it isn't going to do you any good. Please, Doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
You will be. A pioneer in the field of genetic engineering.
You're lying.
No, I'm not. You created him. Well, I suppose I should say you are going to create him.
Create?
His name is Kyle Climb. Your clone. That is why he looks just like a younger version of yourself. 23 years ago, in the biolab here in Rhizome 9, you created Kyle. Well, I suppose for you, that's still in the future.
You don't need to keep saying it, Akane. We already get it.
When I said I was born and raised here, I was still pretending to be him. The gravity here is only 1/6 of Earth's. If nothing was done, the reduced gravity would cause his bones to be weaker than normal human ones. But you prepared for that. You gave him that armor. Ever since he was born, he's lived inside of it. It kept his muscles and bones strong. He wasn't forced into it for the nonary game. He's been wearing it every day, all his life.
But why would future me create a clone?
He was to be your spare. If something happened to you before the project began, he would take your place.
Oh my god.
I mentioned before that the AB projects A and B stood for after and before. That isn't all they mean, though. The A also means anima, and the B means body.
Anima body.
Anima is another word for the soul or the consciousness. Body is, well, exactly what it says on the tin. The past consciousness will go into the future body, and the future consciousness will go into the past body. They switch. That was the chief goal of the project.
Wait, so the future person goes into the past person?
Sigma, do you remember the note you found in the garden?
You mean this, right?
Yes. Ah, Of course, it was you who investigated the garden in this timeline.
Yeah.
Sigma, take a good look at this. It's an illustration of the time jumps your consciousness is making.
I knew it couldn't be that simple when I first saw it.
A is where everything began. December 25th, 2028. You inhaled the white smoke in your car and lost consciousness. From there, you jumped to B. January 25th, 2074. You woke up in one of the AB rooms in Rhizome 9. You are in your own body, but it is 67 years old. Your consciousness has jumped 45 years into the future. I believe that may explain why you didn't notice the reduced lunar gravity. The body you woke up in was much older. Normally, you would have noticed that your muscles were much weaker. In this case, however, the lower gravity balanced that out. Moving on, if you continue along this line, what happens next? You reach C, which is January 27th, 2074. That is today.
Whoa. Wait, what do you mean? Are you saying it's been 2 days since we woke up?
Really?
36 hours to be exact. Have you already forgotten? You were all infected with Radical 6. The virus slowed your brain down, so yes, 36 hours of real time have passed. But to you, it only seemed like 14 hours and 40 minutes.
That's why everyone would say, oh man, look at the time. It's like, oh man, how long have we been talking? There you go, makes more sense.
Now comes the important part. After this, your consciousness will return to the past. It will re-emerge at point D. April 13th, 2029. You will return to your younger body.
But that's the same day as the reactor explosions.
Yes. That is why I said it will be too late. You will return to the past, but the events you would want to prevent will have already happened.
So the goal is to get to the Nevada test site.
The story does not end there, however. The line continues. After reaching point D, you will eventually return to B. But this time, you won't be jumping through time, or at least not at a rate faster than normal. Your consciousness will spend 45 years inhabiting the same body until you reach point B. Do you remember when B is, Sigma?
January 25th, 2074. According to what you just told us, it's 36 hours ago.
Correct. That was when the consciousness of the 22-year-old Sigma jumped into the body of 67-year-old Sigma. So where did the older version of you go when you took his body?
Point A. December 25th, 2028. The day all of this started.
Yes. His consciousness will go back in time 45 years. For a period of time, he will inhabit your younger body. While your younger consciousness is elsewhere, he will be you in the past.
But once that body reaches point D, my 22-year-old consciousness will come back from point C.
That's correct. When that happens, the older version of you will be ejected from your younger body and return to your body at C.
So it's rotating.
Rotating? I suppose you could put it that way. But look at this illustration closely. what if you take all these lines and untangle them? You get one single line. It may look complicated, but in truth, it's a single straight path.
With dots.
With one exception.
This line here at point E, right?
Exactly. Point E is December 31st, 2028, the day of the total eclipse.
The day Radical 6 got out of the test facility.
Yes. By now, you've likely figured it out on your own. The purpose of the AB project was to get the consciousness of the 67-year-old Sigma from point B to point A. If we can do that, we can change what happened 45 years ago.
So the old version of me will keep Radical 6 from getting out by jumping into my 22-year-old body on New Year's Eve 2028?
Yes. That is why this line could not be interrupted. In order for the 67-year-old version of you to reach point B, we first have to go through point D. In order to get to point D, we must jump from point C. And for point C to happen, we had to recreate everything that happened in this facility. That is why we have faithfully retraced history up to this point.
Oh my... This must have taken... How many times has he done this? Because if so, even if he's done it only twice, that's a total of 90 years this guy's had to go back and forth.
So that we might save humankind from destruction and undo the horrors of the last 45 years.
You save a girl from burning to death, and all of a sudden she becomes Time Wizard of the universe. Tell me one thing.
What is that?
You said that point C is January 27th, 2074, which is today. There's going to be a jump, and I'll jump to April 13th, 2029.
Yes, that's right.
But look, I'm still old. When is this jump supposed to happen?
Very soon.
Soon?
Yes.
And what's going to trigger it?
We need potential energy stored to send your consciousness into the fourth dimension.
You are not going to blow up Mr. Octopus.
Fortunately, we now have plenty of that. Thanks, ironically, to Radical 6. All that remains is to launch your consciousness, like a bullet from a slingshot.
And how do you propose to do that?
Didn't I tell you? A crisis. A moment balanced between life and death. That can jumpstart your brain.
What do you mean?
You haven't figured it out.
I have...
I mean this.
Oh. Never mind. Dio's knife? No sooner were the words out of my mouth. Fight! I screamed and leapt toward them. Akane was already in motion, the knife diving towards Fai's chest. I was almost there. When I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. I felt for a cut, but something was in the way. It took me a moment to realize it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. On it was written a few words in Latin. Okay. Let's unpack this. And I'm going to put it as simple as I can possibly put it. After this music, because it's really good. No, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to talk now. So, Sigma Klim, 22 years old, going home from college, car won't start. Gets gassed. His consciousness then leaps 45 years in the future. Then the 45-year-old or the 67-year-old Sigma Klim jumps back to that exact moment, or tries to. He jumps back to point B, which is where the reactors explode. He then spends the next 45 years recreating history. And him and Akane do this over and over again in an attempt to get this to work this time. And that's why in Zero Time Dilemma he said maybe the next Sigma will do better. They are doing this over and over and over again until they get it. Until finally, Zero Time Dilemma's ending happens. I gotta replay Zero Time Dilemma now.